I'm Zach.
And I'm Josh.
And this is a pineapple.
All right, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, fellow nerds. And welcome back to Two Nerds and a Pineapple. It has been quite a long time because of Christmas vacation, etc., other reasons.
But we're
back. It's good to be back. It's good to be back and record now. We got some new software. Hopefully it sounds even better. We're hoping that this video is going to be shorter and we can maintain like a shorter video for people who watch it, because we know people usually like a decently length video. That being said, it might not be possible because we said that in the past and just hasn't worked out.
Trailed off.
But let's hope. Let's hope so. Let's hope and push for that. Anyway, so that being said, we have watched Mandalorian. Mandalorian has been done for like 3 weeks?
3 weeks, yep.
For a couple of weeks now, and that's okay. But we're here to talk about Chapter 15. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, we're going to be recording another video and get right into Chapter 16.
Yeah.
So that being said, you ready to do the summary, Zach?
I am ready to do the summary. All right, so in Chapter 15, the cinematic opens up, and it immediately is on a planet we haven't seen on the live screen before. And as you get closer down into the planet, you see that it's a junkyard, and then you see that it's not just a junkyard, it's like basically a prison planet where they're having all their inmates work. It eventually phases over to an older character from Season 1, Mayfeld, and basically we find out what's happened to him since he got captured by Mando in the New Republic and the base blew up, and now he's here. He's working his butt off on destroyed TIE fighters and other old Imperial junk, and he's just griping. He's that fun character that gripes. Cara Dune shows up, and she comes from Slave One. You see it off in the distance. It's really cool. She goes up to him, and she basically recruits him. Officially, but unofficially. She pulls strings to get him, as she says, or bends rules. Basically says, I need you for a mission, and come with me. She doesn't even really give him an option. And so, reluctantly, he ends up following her. And immediately he sees Boba Fett and he freaks out and he's like, okay, I thought you were the other guy. But then, obviously...
The other guy comes.
The other guy comes. And he has another mini freak out. And that's when they brief him on the mission. It's, you used to work for the Imperials. You can get us in. The child has been taken. We need to get him back. And they make it very, very clear that we're not inviting you along. You are helping us. Mm-hmm. And there's no way around it. And he's like, what's in it for me? Nothing. So that being said, he decides he is going to help them, and he's like, all right, well, I'll get you the coordinates to where Moff Gideon and the child is. However, let's do yet another side quest. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, I need to go to this planet to get the things, and that planet was named Morak, so they have to go to Morak for the location, if you will. And so, with kind of a sigh and a tilt of the head of Mando, that's where they head. They head to Morak, and they're looking down at some infantry. It's clear that the Imperials have tried to take over the planet, and the people aren't happy about it. And so they look down, they see a cargo truck. They decide we're going to hijack that. They know that they're a dead giveaway, so Mando and Mayfeld disguise themselves as Imperial officers, kind of like a nod back to A New Hope. They hijack the thing, they go in, and on their way they're attacked by a band of pirates and barely escape with their lives, but just as they make it to the base, TIE fighters come in and save the day for once, and they make it in. Once they are in the base, Mayfeld is explaining to Mando, that's where we need to get to, that's the terminal. However, you're going to need to show your face to do it. I can't show my face here, so you're going to need to do it. So Mando, wanting to do the right thing for the child, goes over, reluctantly, not even reluctantly, he goes right into it, takes off his helmet, they scan his face. Once they scan his face, apparently that's all you need to do. You don't need to be some clearance, just they scan his face, and he gets in, he gets the coordinates. From there, an officer takes notice of him, and he doesn't know how to react because he's never been part of the Imperials. That's when Mayfeld steps up, he blows his cover, and basically the officer starts nagging them and having a drink with them. gets Mayfeld upset, and then it turns into a giant shootout because Mayfeld couldn't hold his temper. From there,
Then we find out in that moment that he actually has feelings. That sounds weird.
It's true.
But
that is true.
He's more than just a crook.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Which was cool. I did kind of blow over that, but basically, yes, you find out that he's not just basically a piece of crap. Like, he actually has a conscience with what he did in the Empire. So, long story short, he shoots the officer who is antagonizing them. They get into a mass shootout, and they barely escape with their lives. By the end of the episode, it's a typical, okay, thank you for helping us. We're going to let you go, but pretend you were killed because you helped us and showed that you had a conscience. So they let Mayfeld go. They now have the Cordants. And as in a lot of Mando episodes, they kind of fly off the planet and await their journey for the next episode. So, Josh, this begs the one major question.
Yes, it does.
Yes.
Is it the way? I messed it up. This is fine. Okay, we're gonna set them up like this. Crap. Why have I done this? So there isn't a lot of talk about in this episode. However, it does lead up to a huge episode. So we'll talk about some cool things and some things that may have bothered us, but they don't bother us. It's kind of a love and hate kind of thing. So
Absolutely.
with that, I think the biggest thing is kind of just like an overall arcing thing, and I think we'll only touch on this just a little bit.
Sure.
We'll try to touch on it a little bit because there's more to talk about when we actually get to the next
episode, yeah.
And that's Mando taking off his helmet.
Again,
like we'll say, we're gonna talk about it some more when we get to chapter 16. When we do that video, but is it something that was needed, or was it needed? Was it not needed? Should he have taken it off only at the end? Again, we'll get to that point. So that's pretty much it without talking too much about it, because we will talk more about what happens in chapter 16.
right.
And that's for another video. So that's pretty much it. I think one of the coolest things is what we talked about in the summary is that Mayfeld actually has a conscience. You know, he's not a crook. I mean, does this mean he's going to be a completely good guy now? We don't know. I think he will probably return in season 3. Maybe he won't, but it's possible. You never know.
See him going either way.
Right. I think because he came back, he totally can, and it's not needed, but it would be cool. Maybe he joins Mando's crew fully. Or he helps Cara Dune and Grieve. Cara
becomes a Mandalorian.
He becomes a Mandalorian. But yeah, anything you want to add?
Regarding Din Djarin taking off the helmet, I think I pretty much stand the way I stood before, where it was, I kind of really would have liked a faceless hero, but I understand why they did it. My biggest critique is how they did it. I don't feel that it was necessarily unnecessary, because it shows his character development and shows I'm devoted to Grogu so much that I'll do anything to protect him. I think they do a very good job trying to express that. I just think it was mainly the logistics of how they did it, because with the terminal they needed to access, Mayfeld says you need a face recognition, but I can't use my face because I used to be part of the Empire, blah blah blah, right?
More of a nervous thing. He was kind of nervous to do it.
Exactly. But then he goes ahead and blows his cover to save Mando's butt. So either way, he was like doing a thing.
Honestly, Mando could have just been like, "Nah, dude, you're gonna do this, or I'm gonna kill you." Like,
right, and that's it. Yeah,
it's kind of like really like, oh, Mando had to take off his helmet because this guy was too nervous. Like, it's kind of a crappy plot hole.
But that was go ahead.
Alas, it's kind of whatever, but at the same time, it's kind of crappy.
Yeah, it was like, because his helmet is still in the cargo truck, so like, there's no reason he couldn't have gone, put it on, just took it off for the screening. Like, it didn't sell. The reason why Mando wanted to take off his helmet, great. How they actually did it, could have done it much better.
Right, exactly.
Like, even if like if that was the first time we saw him without his helmet, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was my only real critique of the episode. other than that, I agree with you. I loved Mayfeld. I love how they gave him a conscience, how he actually felt bad for what he did in the Empire, how he slaughtered people, and how he was treated in response to slaughtering people. Like,
Yeah.
he's really messed up, and he really expresses that. And I think they nailed that part of it. So
Yeah. I think more so if you go onto the side of Cara Dune, I like her character, so it's a nice character. There's very nice character development. Not like in huge ways, but it's there. And this is important.
Yeah.
I did find it a bit weird, and it doesn't really clarify how much time is between 14 and 15. But the way those two episodes went, it technically wouldn't have been a lot of time because Grogu
Right.
was taken.
Yep.
But very quickly, does Cara Dune kind of fill in that role of New Republic corporal, or I don't know the role off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But she very quickly kind of fills in that role, and it doesn't bother me because it doesn't matter that much. But like, she's very quickly accepted back into the New Republic.
She very much accepts that, where she was really unsure the one episode, and then she kind of flipped.
It
Yep.
doesn't matter that much, but it's kind of stinky, if that's the proper words for it. But alas, it's very cool that she's accepted that role. Where that leads, I don't know. If it leads anywhere in the next season, we will see.
Right. Yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see those characters again. I kind of find it doubtful that we won't in some shape or form. Whether it's once or not, I kind of think we do. We will.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Going to the next topic, it's really funny because there's like a lot story-wise happened in the episode, but not really a lot happened, if that makes sense. They really did just kind of breeze through it without rushing through it. They breezed through it, which is okay. It was a good episode. But to our next point, the pirate chase. What did you think about that? I thought it was really cool.
I thought it was great. I thought it was really
Yep.
it was really enjoyable.
It might have been my favorite part of the episode because it showed obviously an action sequence, and those are always fun. It showed that Mando is actually skilled, because even though he can't see out of the helmet as well,
I think he would have
his
been
skills themselves like took down the pirates.
If the pirates had blasters, he'd be dead. But they didn't.
That's true. Well, totally, because it showed, that was my other good favorite part, was it showed like with his arm, like the Imperial armor really is cheap.
Yeah.
Like there's jokes about it and whatnot, but it's super cheap armor.
Talking about Imperial armor, I was actually talking to one of my friends. I bumped into him at the store. He's a big Star Wars nerd, like we are. If not he's a bigger Star Wars nerd in knowledge-wise.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know how true this is because I didn't research it yet. I don't know why I haven't researched it. I am going to research it.
Okay.
But he explained to me that in most, not like sort of like half most cases, if like one blaster shot and a stormtrooper goes down, half the time it's actually just like especially in the head, like it's usually just a concussion shot.
Gotcha.
Because of the I don't know. It's weird. We'll actually get back to you guys on that. I think it would be really cool maybe to discuss it in the next episode if we research that. I just wanted to mention it somewhere. So
you're suggesting that it looks like it kills him, but it doesn't necessarily kill him.
Especially, again, this is because of movie magic, and they don't exactly put an entire calloused shot through the body or halfway through the body. It's usually just like a black mark on the suit.
Right, yeah.
We do know Imperial armor is extremely weak, so I don't know how true that is. We will find out.
All depends on the lore.
Exactly. We'll get back to you on that. It could differ on the lore. It could be like, oh, this is only in Legends, or this is. So it depends. We'll get back. I just wanted to mention that. Aspect.
Oh, that was the other thing. Real quickly, what did you think about Boba Fett's painted armor? Because it's the first time we've seen anything like that, literally, since he was created.
It was really cool to see it. Because the thing is, there's like kind of like 3 stages for his armor.
Yep.
In the originals, he kind of has like decently painted armor, but it's kind of scrappy. My favorite look, Boba Fett.
Yep.
Here, like when you first see Boba Fett's armor again, it's super scrappy, which is understandable, but it's super scrappy and like there's barely a lot of paint on it. It's just super beat up.
Yep.
And then he repaints it, and it's a completely different thing than we're used to because it's even more fixed than the originals.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's really cool to see. I'm glad he didn't just stick to like the extremely scrappy look. And I think moving on to no spoilers, but the miniseries.
Yeah.
That I think it's gonna it kind of
slowly get scrappy again. You think? I think we might.
I think it will, but it really yeah. I think it's gonna be cool. I'm excited. I'm glad that they did. I'm glad that they did it.
Yeah.
To summarize.
No, I am too. I very much loved it. It was it took us all off guard, so that was cool. Personally, my favorite look is the extremely scrappy look.
Really?
From like the episode before. Yep. I liked the extra battle damage it was. It really showed that it was worn. They did a great job.
I don't get me wrong, I liked the look.
No, I know.
But I'm kinda
But that was my favorite personally. And part of that might be just because he was wearing black instead of white to complement it, so it might be a color thing, but
right.
But no, I very much enjoyed it. And going on to that, one more thing before you head on. I know I interrupted you, but I'm so happy. I cannot express how happy I am. For years and years and years, I defended the point that Boba Fett kept his armor from his father, Jango. And I got argued with it so much. Like, not that it's a big deal. It's not like a pride thing. But at the same time, I'm really happy that it was confirmed that his armor is Jango's armor. It really adds such a sentiment to the character that I always thought was my headcanon.
And I also don't know if this was said already. I don't know if this was kind of already existence or if it was just Legends or if it wasn't even a thing, period. But it does say that Jango's father was Mandalore. Like, not Mandalore, he was Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Absolutely. They brought that back too. Yeah.
So that, like you said, it was really cool to see.
I'm
impressed. Glad that they did that.
So, yeah.
So, going off of armor, actually, is what I wanted to touch on next. So, I'm glad you kept talking about armor.
Sure, yeah.
Let's talk about Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, his armor. Again, this is kind of something that literally no one's talked about, as far as I know. Maybe, like, amongst friends or something. But is he going to inevitably paint his armor? Is he ever going to paint his armor? I would kind of prefer him not to. I'm getting into this quickly. And it's only to the aspect because the show's called The Mandalorian, and it's referring to him as the Mandalorian because he's like the main character, so he's the Mandalorian, even though there's other Mandalorians.
Yeah.
And it's just Din Djarin. And granted, he could paint the armor because plenty of Mandalorians have their armor, but I think because he doesn't belong to a particular group, not yet, and even if he does eventually belong to a particular group, I just think it kind of... You know what I mean. I think you know what I mean. I hope you guys know what I mean. It kind of just signifies his character. It makes him stand out from amongst the rest.
It's a character statement.
Yeah, it's just him. It's plain, but you recognize it as the Mandalorian. Recognize it as Din Djarin.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. I think the reason they might not paint his armor, or he might not paint his armor, is that character statement. But going off of that, I could be totally wrong, but as far as I know, I'm not. So here it goes. I'm pretty sure all of the Mandalorians wear Beskar of some form. I think what makes it really the difference is whether or not it's pure Beskar.
Yeah.
And that's what really separates them, which is why his helmet was never painted, I think, because it's pure Beskar and it's one of the rare pieces, literally because it's pure. I think because he's wearing full pure Beskar now, that he's going to continue to not paint it to show this is the pure thing. I'm a true Mandalorian kind of thing. That's my theory. Could be wrong, but that's what I'm running with until basically they change it. So
yeah, all right.
So that's what I think about that. So,
I mean, with that being said, is it the way?
It is the way, Josh.
And this is a pineapple. Oh crap! It fell.